Scientists just compared the DNA of millions of people to ancient skeletons from Egypt and Mesopotamia.
And almost every popular theory about Jewish origins just fell apart. Only one Bronze Age civilization actually matched the receipts.
That answer stayed buried under 2,000 years of exile, conquest, and every empire that tried to overwhite us.
We put several famous origin stories to the test. The kind that claim everything we know about history is wrong.
One says Ashkenazi Jews descend from medieval Khazars, right here in the Caucasus.
Another says Roman-era converts in Europe replaced the original population entirely.
To check that, researchers look at line markers. Think of them like genetic surnames that travel down the family line.
They also look at endogamy, which just means people kept marrying inside the community.
Researchers compared ancient genomes from 6,000 years of burials to modern communities. Most theories didn't survive.
The Khazar Hypothesis is the most popular alternative origin story on the internet.
If this were true, most Ashkenazi Jews would have no genetic connection to the ancient Israelites at all.
But DNA doesn't care about politics. Behar and his team tested this directly in 2013, and the results were decisive.
They found Khazar-associated markers at rates below 3%, which is the genetic equivalent of buying a house and only owning the doormat.
Instead, they found haplogroups J1 and J2, markers strongly associated with the ancient Near East and the Southern Levant.
If the Khazars aren't the source, then the European replacement theory offers a more plausible-sounding answer.
This theory argues that Ashkenazi Jews descend from European converts during the Roman era.
Costa and his colleagues delivered a curveball in 2013 when they analyzed mitochondrial DNA, which passes down the maternal line.
They found 4 major lineages that trace back to prehistoric Europe, not the Near East. The mothers were local.
But the mixing only happened on one side of the family tree. The men carried the Levantine signature into Europe.
With the alternative theories debunked, we're left with a massive question. Who does the DNA actually point to? The answer was found at Armageddon.
The answer came out of a 2020 study. Researchers pulled DNA from skeletons buried right here at Megiddo.
We were a stable local people. Our ancestry was tied to this land and the eastern populations nearby.
These ancient Levantines weren't Egyptians or Mesopotamians. They were a distinct biological population.
Empires ruled us periodically, but they never overwrote our genetic signature. We remained ourselves.
When researchers compared this genome to modern diaspora groups, the match was immediate and unmistakable.
Whether in Baghdad or Warsaw, we retain more than 50% of our ancestry from that Bronze Age source.
The match goes deeper than big markers. They checked SNPs, tiny one-letter differences in the DNA code.
Wait, it gets crazier. Matching tiny DNA letters is one thing. But what about groups separated for 1,000 years? Sephardic Jews in Iberia and Mizrahi Jews in Yemen, all traced back to that same Bronze Age population.
This is the receipt that outlasts every empire. Kingdoms turned to dust, but the genetic signature survived.
Our story isn't a metaphor. It is a measurable fact
written into the chromosomes of millions today.
But other people moved through this land too. To see how unique this is, we need a control group, the Philistines.
In 2019, researchers analyzed DNA from Ashkelon and found something completely different, a sudden arrival of European DNA.
That's what migration looks like. A foreign population arrives, mixes, and leaves a clear signature in the bones.
The Philistine signature peaked and then faded as they blended into the locals. Their genetic distinctness disappeared.
Against that baseline, Jewish continuity is completely unprecedented. It's a genuine outlier in the ancient world.
Most groups lose their signature within a few generations. We did the opposite.
The Philistines showed us what total replacement looks like. But if the Jewish signature stayed so consistent, why did early tests get it wrong?
That's where we hit the maternal curveball. The mothers tell a completely different story than the fathers.
Mitochondrial DNA makes some groups look European, while Y-chromosomes make them look Levantine. You need both to see the whole picture.
In 2013, researchers found that Ashkenazi maternal lines trace back to prehistoric Europe, not the Near East.
This isn't a contradiction. It's a human story. The fathers came from the East, and the mothers were local.
You see the same pattern here in Ethiopia. Our mothers are from this land, but our fathers' signature remains.
The Beta Israel community carries Levantine paternal markers, tracing to the same Bronze Age source as every other group.
This pattern isn't just a curiosity. It is the final clue to how our civilization managed to cheat time.
This is the capstone. 3 diaspora populations, separated for over 1,000 years, still converge on the same source.
In Europe, our signal persisted visibly beneath the local layers, even after centuries of pressure.
Sephardic Jews from Iberia show North African input, but their Bronze Age Levant ancestry sits closer to the surface.
In Iraq and Yemen, we showed the least admixture. Our paternal lineages match the ancient remains at over 70%.
These communities lived on different continents and spoke different languages, yet they don't diverge genetically. That kind of continuity should be impossible. It was preserved by 2 factors: endogamy and cultural infrastructure.
Our shared textual tradition created a shared world. We spoke different languages, but we shared the same laws.
Marrying within the group meant marrying within the social network you relied on. The genetic consequence was continuity.
The theory that modern Jewish populations have no genetic connection to the ancient Israelites simply isn't supported by the data. Think about this. The people who built the pyramids aren't the primary genetic ancestors of modern Egyptians. Migration rewrote that population.
The Sumerians who invented writing left no continuous population. The Indus Valley civilization disappeared from the record.
But the Southern Levant left descendants. Our through line connects Bronze Age farmers to the modern world.
Those descendants are still here, in New York, Tel Aviv, Paris, and Mumbai. The receipts survived every empire.
Our kingdom was a wall between empires, stretching from the Black Sea to the iron gates of the Caucasus.
The theory goes that the Khazar ruling class converted in the 8th century, and their descendants became the Ashkenazi Jews of Eastern Europe.
If the stories are true,
the entire history of the exile from the south would be nothing more than a footnote.
It's a dramatic reset button on the entire narrative. But as we've seen, DNA doesn't care about convenient stories.
In 2013, Behar and his colleagues put this to the test. They looked for Turkic and Central Asian markers in Ashkenazi samples.
If we were the ancestors, you would see our signature in 30% of their DNA. That is the math of a founding population.
The actual data showed less than 3%. That's the genetic equivalent of buying a house and finding out the seller only owns the doormat.
The Y-Chromosome picture is even more decisive. Our fathers did not come from these mountains.
Haplogroups J1 and J2 appear in 40% of Ashkenazi male lineages. Those markers aren't Central Asian, they're Levantine.
These markers are too consistent across too many communities to be explained by a conversion event in the Caucasus.
Genome-wide analysis places Ashkenazi Jews firmly in the Mediterranean cluster, overlapping with Druze and Cypriot samples.
Our kingdom was real, and our leaders may have chosen a new faith, but we are not the ancestors of the modern diaspora.
The Khazar theory survives only in political pamphlets and comment sections, not in peer-reviewed journals where actual data lives.
A father passes his Y-chromosome to his sons essentially unchanged. That marker persists even when culture and geography change.
The fathers didn't come from the Caucasus. They came from here, and they carried their signature with them.
With the Khazars ruled out, we move to Claim 2, the European replacement theory.
This theory argues that the diaspora was built by local converts during the Roman era.
It feels believable because Ashkenazi Jews do carry a lot of European DNA in their overall profile.
In 2013, Costa and his team found that our maternal lines trace back to prehistoric Italy and France.
European women entered the gene pool in large numbers. But the Y chromosome tells a completely different story.
The paternal profile remains overwhelmingly Levantine. The replacement narrative stops in its tracks before it can even get started.
The men carried the signature into Europe, and the women they married were local. Both stories are true at the same time.
40 to 50% of Ashkenazi ancestry traces to Europe, but the paternal line didn't get replaced, it just layered on top.
This pattern of local marriage shows up again and again across the Mediterranean. It isn't a replacement, it's a foundation.
Verdict on Claim 2 is partially void. The European DNA is there, but it didn't overwrite the core, it just joined it.
So who does the DNA actually point to? The answer turned up in a place most people know as Armageddon.
The 2020 study pulled DNA from our skeletons. We shared a stable local profile that persisted across time.
These ancient Levantines were a distinct biological population. They weren't Egyptians, and they weren't Mesopotamians.
Our genetic signature stayed intact, even when the great empires of the North and South ruled over us.
When researchers compared this genome to modern communities from Warsaw to Baghdad, the match was immediate.
Modern Jewish and Arab populations both retain more than 50% of their ancestry from this Bronze Age source.
The match goes deeper than big markers. They checked SNPs, tiny one-letter differences that give a much finer comparison.
The older source drifted less than you would expect after 3,000 years. The signature stayed clear.
Wait, it gets crazier. Communities separated for 1,000 years still point back to the same source. Whether we lived in Iberia or Yemen, our DNA carried the same Bronze Age memories.
This is the receipt that outlasts every empire. The genetic signature of Canaan survived intact.
The Philistines came and went genetically. But Jewish continuity is completely unprecedented in the historical record. The Philistines were migrants. The DNA from Ashkelon finally put a number on it and showed exactly when they arrived.
We arrived and blended genetically. Within a few centuries, our unique European signature was absorbed by the locals.
Jewish communities never produced that kind of genetic disruption. They absorbed local DNA without letting it overwrite the core. That's the difference between a migrant and a diaspora. A diaspora endures and waits out the empires that surround it.
The people who built these massive monuments aren't the primary ancestors of the people living here today.
Centuries of migration and conquest completely rewrote the local genetic map of the Nile Valley.
The Indus Valley people disappeared entirely. No modern population carries their founding signature forward intact.
It is a rare thing in history for a people to outlast the languages they once spoke.
Tourists photographed the monuments, but the Southern Levant left descendants who still carry the original code.
3,000 years ago, we were recording laws here. Our DNA is the only witness that never left.
The DNA from these bones doesn't lie about where these ancestors were building their lives.
We were a people defined by a journey, but we never lost the coordinate of our beginning.
Those descendants are in every major city on Earth today, carrying the Bronze Age receipts in their blood.
The continuity held even in the furthest reaches of the diaspora. The signature stayed true.
Exile and diaspora were supposed to erase this connection. Instead, they acted as a preservative.
Our community was our fortress. It kept the world out and the memory in.
The audit is complete. The genetic connection to the Bronze Age Levant is direct and measurable.
We are the living proof that a people can outlast every empire that tried to destroy them.
Next time, we're going even deeper into the Mediterranean to find the Phoenician signatures.
The sea carried us away, but the DNA always knew the way back home.
Temples fell and languages died, but the code stayed written in the blood.
As the host of Origin Solved, I need you to stay curious, because the receipts are always there if you know how to read them.